professional, your career, how long you were at Councill High, and so on.
Mingo Clark went to Councill in 1957 and left in 65. Went to Butler High School in 65. I worked the whole year without having any students. I would go back and forth to Councill to sign in every morning, then come out here and build on my house. And I built the house on 2026 Winchester Road and moved in 1965. Then in 66 I moved to Butler High School there on, what street is that? West Stone? Holmes Street. And it was quite an experience leaving Councill High, seeing an all-black student body. We went to Butler High School and saw all white. And a young man by the name of Young walked out from the crowd, walked up to me and said, "Good morning, Mr. Clark, welcome to Butler High School." And that eased myself, and I went on in Butler. He took my briefcase and took me to the classroom. And I started over there as a DO student, teacher. Well, I had left Councill. I went to Councill as an industrial arts teacher. And Mr. Smiley from Montgomery came to me and said, "We want you to be the DO man." I said, "No, I don't want to take this man's job." He said, "Well, if you don't take his job, he's going to be without a job because we're going to have to move him." So he said, "Well, I'll move him in the shop and you move up to DO." I said, "All right." And so he made me the DO teacher. And I started out at Councill High School as a DO teacher. I would see students in the hall that I wanted in the program and ask them if they wanted to get into DO. So they would get in the DO program. And then after I left Councill, I was at Butler, and I would go to Butler, Huntsville, and Lee High School and collect students.
Hey, you want to explain to us what DO?
DO was diversified occupation, in that the kids in DO will be working on jobs that had to do with building, mechanical, what have you. Then you had office practice, had to deal with the office. DE was diversified, distributive education, had to do with selling and taking in money. And say the difference between DO and DE, say if you worked at a service station and you collected money, you went DE. If you worked at a service station to do nothing but pump gas, you went DO. You know, one had to do with selling and the other one had to do with mechanical and operations, you see. Okay. And then we came up, and Dr. Warner Von Braun's had me in his office up on the top floor in 4200. And he invited the GS-15s and what have you to come back and show him how the students could come out there. So he asked me when could I come back. And I told him anytime. So we came back and he had them explain how the kids could come out there. So he told me to bring them out there. So I started moving kids out there through personnel and gave them a GS-1. And those kids from all the various schools would go to class a half a day and work a half a day. So Hubert Humphrey wanted to come to Huntsville, and he asked to see me, and he wanted to know from me why these kids had to go to school, go to class for a half a day. Did you go to class? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I said, well, most kids drop out of school because they can't read. And so we got a specialist reading group to come out there and teach them how to read. And they went from GS-9 to GS-12 when they in reading when they got ready to graduate from high school. So many of the kids stayed out there after graduating from high school. One in particular, Vicky Joyner, went from a GS-1 to Chief of Personnel at Marshall Space Flight Center while she was there. Mm-hmm. And she later retired, so she's back home now. I stayed at Butler till 72 and went from Butler High School to Johnson High School. And Johnson High School opened in 72. And I went out there as the assistant principal to run the second floor. We had about 9 areas of vocational education, which I was supposed to supervise. I enjoyed Johnson High School. We went there, we had about 85% white and about 20% black. They wanted to fight all the time. So we settled them down and got the school running. We had as many as 3,000 kids there at one time. I enjoyed working at Johnson. They had an outstanding athletic program.
Okay.
Johnson went to Ohio and beat a school up there that hadn't lost a game in years. And they said what's fired them up, said when they got off the bus that they started calling them pea pickers. They said that fired them up, and so they beat that school up there in Ohio and came on back down here. Yeah, we enjoyed Johnson High School. The students were very nice, and the football team was outstanding. They used to run Huntsville. Johnson High School, when they said when the football team came out, so that's some outstanding football team. Mr. Drake came over there as principal, and Paulin became the head football coach. And he built quite a football team at Johnson. Johnson could play football practically anywhere in the United States. And they used to run Huntsville. They beat everybody in Huntsville. Grissom, Lee, Huntsville High School. Johnson was the team to beat. And like I said, we had students who left there went practically every profession in the country. Auburn and Alabama would come to Johnson recruiting practically every day. And Auburn got Donnie Humphrey and Chris Martin and several more boys to go to Auburn University. And I don't know if either one ever finished, but both of them went to pros. Yeah, Donnie Humphrey went to the Green Bay Packers and started as a freshman. He got so much for starting every game. And I don't know which pro team Chris Martin went with. He went with one or two of them, and was a good, outstanding player. Yeah, Johnson started out approximately 85% white, and as years went along, you had the white flight, and it wound up about 99% black. They had maybe 2 or 3 white kids over there. In the late 90s, you see, or mid 90s. I left there in 2. Retired from Johnson High School. I didn't tell anybody that I was leaving.
Oh.
I just went in one morning and left my keys on the principal's desk and said I won't be back. Put me down for 30 days leave. And I retired. What happened, I went to personnel and to see how much I would make if I retired. And I wasn't making about $5 or $6 a month. And I was spending more than that for cleaning my clothes and eating lunch. So I said, well, I'm gonna quit this thing. I ain't got making no money. I'm paying to come down here. So I quit Johnson High School, and Miss Laura Hall and Mr. Jordan, Harvey Jordan, went up to my room and they said, you know that man, all of his plaques are gone. You ought to go downstairs and look at all my plaques on the wall.
Okay.
I had took them all off the wall, and they were all on the wall in my office. They said, all of his plaques gone. I said, that nigga ain't coming back up here. And so they found out that I quit. The night janitor caught me slipping my stuff out of there at night. He said, what you gonna do? I said, you want these flowers? He said, yeah. So he took the flowers and I moved the other stuff out, put it in boxes and moved all my stuff out of there. And at night I moved it out. And so one day they called me. My wife said, they want you to come down to the Red Lobster and eat lunch. I said, who? He said, just come on down this time. I went down there and the whole faculty was down there. They gave me a going away celebration. And the HCA gave me a plaque for coming down there. And I said, no, I didn't want these people up, everybody talking about how he went enjoyed me and he gave me hell all the time. I was here. His teachers were Western students. You had to get along with them teachers. I had no problem with them. So I remember this principal telling me, he said, I can't get that woman to do nothing. I said, I bet you I can get her to do it. So I went to her. I said, how your mother? She said, she's fine. I said, you ever taken in the flowers to her? She said, no, I hadn't thought about it. I said, well, you take her some flowers here. I said, look, I got something I want you to do. She said, what is it, Mr. Clark? And I told her. And she went on and did it. He said, how'd you get that woman to do it? I said, well, you see, you got to familiarize yourself with the person to get them to work for you. And so I talked about her mother, and she enjoyed that. And she went on and did the job for me.
You were sharing with us about the parents, the white parents, the black parents.
Well, and white parents would always come to the school and involve themselves in something. They would either be in the Boosters Club, or they would be in the library. They would do something all the time. Well, black parents didn't involve themselves in the schools at Councill. You had to work with the students. If you didn't work with the students, you never did see the parents. And at Johnson, I always ran into the parents at one thing or something else all the time. And they said they would always give me a good salutation or such, and said, we really enjoy what you're doing with our child. I said, well, okay, thank you. And I enjoyed those students at Johnson. They were very nice, as well as those at Councill. I didn't have any trouble at Councill that I remember about. And so I came to Councill High School under my coach. Mr. H.G. Fields was my football coach and basketball coach at Academy High School in Troy. And my wife was the homecoming queen and I was the quarterback. And we got married when I went to the Army and came back. We've been together now for 56 years. When I was at Councill, we won the National Vocational Education campaign. We took a play to Atlanta, Pogue and Bess. We did Pogue and Bess, and Vicky Joyner was Bess, and Antoinette Snodgrass played for us. And this little boy, I can't think, he's a preacher now, they say he's a bishop now. He was on played Bess by moving around on a scooter. And we went down, we won the state meeting in Birmingham. And I took them all to Birmingham. I put the boys in A.G. Gas and the girls in the 3rd Avenue in the Holiday Inn. And those boys walked over there to them girls' rooms from A.G. Gas and 3rd Avenue in Birmingham. won the state, and then we went to the national, and we won the national with this play. And we were singing some excerpts from Porgy and Bess.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we won it. Mm-hmm.
How did you adjust during integration? Did it affect you in any kind of way?
I don't think so. I enjoyed students, no matter what color they were, black or white. And they accepted me in practically every school I went into, at Butler and at Johnson High School. And at Butler, I had to settle the black kids down. They were going to quit school. And I took them and carried some of them out to Redstone and some of them. I think I saved integration in that way by taking some of those students to Redstone and Marshall. Some were Redstone and some were at Marshall. What school? What side was you on?
Huntsville High.
I mean, what side was you on? Army?
Oh, I was on the Army side.
On the Army side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some of them went to Natchez.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you involved in any activities at the Scruggs Street Community Center?
No, I worked with the choir with Miss Gannett at Councill High School.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were there any instructors at Councill High who may have had some influence or any significant degree when you were at Councill High?
I can say Dr. Turner was a good leader, and she came to me and said, "Now you need to quiet those kids down over there in that 9th grade city and teach them." I said, "Okay." So after she came to me and got me started, I never had any more trouble out of students.
Is there anything else that you want to tell us about you, your family, your children?
Well, I got married in Columbia, South Carolina. We moved to Troy and then up to Huntsville High School. I had a boy and a girl. The boy died at 42, and the girl lives out here on off of Winchester Road to the left, just before you cross the river. And she has a very nice house out there. We have lived here in Huntsville since 1957, my wife and I, and we moved from Edmonton Heights up here on Winchester Road and lived at 2026 Winchester. We've been here for about 45, 50 years. And I don't know of anything we know negative about Huntsville. We enjoyed it. We helped integrate some of the places around here. We went to the lunch counters at Sears and Roebuck's when it was down at the heart of Huntsville. We integrated the drive-in movies over on Meridian Street. The place is just about where they built in Lee High School now. There was a drive-in movie there. Mm-hmm. We integrated that. And we integrated a Walgreens downtown on, I think it's Washington Street, right across the street from the 5 and 10 cent stores. There was a Walgreens right down there where the movie is now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed Huntsville. We had at Councill High School, we had such an industrial arts program till the furniture store on the square. That's just the place our projects in that store window. So we put our projects in the store window downtown at the Southern Furniture Company. Mm-hmm. The white fellow came on there with me. He said, "Where those projects came from?" I said, "Councill High School Industrial Arts class." He said, "My boy take industrial arts at Huntsville High." I said, "They don't do nothing like that." Mm. I said, "You send your boy to Councill High School, I'll have him doing something like that." You see, our students, that table right there was made in Councill High School. That the damsels that to the left was made at Councill High School. Yeah, that table. Pick up the cloth and you can see what it looks like. Let's pull the cloth up. Yeah, all that was made at Councill High School. And that right in front of it was made it. No, on this side. Yeah, that was right there. No, right there. Yeah, that was made at Councill High School.
Oh, okay.
Joe Louis Robinson made a bed, and Albert Steele made a stereo set.
Wow.
We had all kinds of furniture made, and they displayed them
Oh.
at Southern Furniture Company on a square in Huntsville. People come by there and look at them, didn't believe that it was made in Huntsville. All my students made a project. Every student then that made a project. We didn't make nothing but a tie rack. He made a project. And they got ready to evaluate Councill High School. The evaluation team came along and said, "Where is the teacher?" He said, "They sit in the back of the student room, back door of the shop." And so they came in to the students, so they sat there, and so the shop foreman said, "It's time to put up tools." So they all started putting up tools. And the shop foreman said, "Wait, I'm going to the shop tool room," and they all moved their tools to the tool room. He hung them up, and then the shop cleanup foreman said, "It's time for table number 2 to clean up the shop." So they went to sweeping off the top tables, and the shop, the group that was cleaned up the shop, and the bell rang, so nobody left. So the maintenance foreman said, "Mr. Clark, everything is clean." I said, "Okay, class passed." And so when they came to report, they never seen a shop operated like that. They came to report, and the superintendent was there. He said he never heard a reporting group from an association with schools and colleges. It was pointing out a particular teacher in the interview, and they saw my shop was operated by like a business, and they said we never seen a shop operated like that, and all my students knew how they operated just like we had them taught. We had a shop foreman, had a tool room foreman, had a cleanup foreman, and all the people did their job, and the students listened to each one of them, and that's why they wanted me to go into DO. I left industrial arts and went to DO.
Okay. So now that you've been retired, what have you been doing with your spare time? And are you still active with your?
I sing with the Alpha Ensemble. You know, we go around. We've been all over the country singing. We sang for Alpha, and we were the music for the National Fraternity for years when Henry Plummer was president. We went to Miami. We went to San Antonio, Texas. Been up to all the Carolinas and North Carolina and South Carolina. Went to Columbia, South Carolina. Went to Raleigh, North Carolina. We've been in Miami, as I said. All over the country, putting on music or some skits.
So So, what is your feeling about us trying to restore Councill High School?
I think it's a very noble idea, and it should be restored and history kept of it, because these young children today don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about segregated schools. I know when my youngster came along, he went into a integrated school, and he didn't know anything about segregated schools. And one day he came and said, "Daddy, I found out I'm the nigger." I said, that. He said, "They pass out papers every time they pass them out to me the last time." I said, "That's right. I'm the last one to get the papers."
Okay. So, in summary, is there something else that you want to share with us at all? During your whole career of teaching from one school to the other, and all the students, some of the students sometimes can impact your life.
Yeah, I enjoyed my students, and many of them see me today and say, "I wished I had listened to you when I was in high school. I'll be a better man today." I said, "No, you're doing all right. How many kids do you have?" They always have 3 or 4. I said, "Are you married?" And most of them would say, "Yeah, I was married and I got divorced." And the girls would say, "I wish I had listened to you. I never would have fooled with that black girl."
Okay.
I've enjoyed my years of teaching. I enjoyed education. I had a good experience in education. And I think the most enjoyable thing I had though in life was a meeting planner. I became a meeting planner for my fraternity. I went to South Africa 3 times.
Okay.
I went to Jamaica 3 times. Been to Brazil about 3 times.
Okay.
All this was out of the meeting planning experience. See, they would invite you into their city to show you what they had in there, you see. We'd go to New York, we'd go to Los Angeles, we'd go to Chicago, we've been all around, St. Louis. What they call fam trip, familiarize you with my city. And they'd invite you and pay for everything.
Okay.
They fly you in and fly you out.
How would you rate the level of instructions while teaching at Councill High School?
I thought it was great. It was good. You had some good teachers at Councill. You see, in those days, those people couldn't do anything else. They had to teach, and they enjoyed it. And you had some of your better people in college going into education, and they stayed in education for years. The students at Councill High School don't realize what good teachers they had. You had people who knew their profession, knew their subject, and could teach it. You see, Dorothy Turner was an outstanding teacher. Howard Roper was a good math teacher. And Rooks taught history and social studies. He was good at that. He taught band. He was good at that. And you had some outstanding teachers down there. I taught industrial laws, and I was good at that.
Okay. That's good.
Well, I think what you all are doing is outstanding. And the students who are coming along now should be experiencing what happened at Councill High School. See, those kids don't know anything about it. Today's kids don't know anything about going in the back door. Don't know anything about going to the side window to get a hamburger. You see, they didn't know anything about coloring and white water. You see, the 2 water fountains were different. So I think all this needs to be brought out and explaining to today's kids so that we would know that there was a difference, you see. A lot of the kids would say, "I wouldn't have done that." Yes, you would. You would have done it because you thought it was right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.